Hello, I'm Rob Phillips, and welcome to my channel, where I teach you how to live a more balanced and present life through yoga and meditation. Today we're going to be doing a Yin Yoga sequence that's going to particularly emphasize the hip flexors and thighs, the front of the body, with a little bit of emphasis as well on the spine and the shoulders. It's going to culminate in a pose called saddle pose, which I've actually never taught on this class. It's a very deep hip opener, very deep pose for the spine as well. So as we get ready for this, I'm going to recommend almost as a requirement to have a blanket and a couple of blocks. They'll be extremely helpful for what we'll be doing. You'll notice I have a bolster, and I know most of you at home probably don't have one of those. I'm just going to show how you can use it if you do, but don't worry if you don't have that. You're not going to miss out on anything. So gather all your props, and whenever you're ready to get started here, we'll find our way into a comfortable seat to help ourselves drop in. So like always, as you choose your seat here, find whatever props you need to be comfortable and stable. Set yourself up in a way that will allow you to sit comfortably for at least a few minutes here. Beginning to notice the body, beginning to notice how your breath is moving. Just really feeling that connection with this experience here and now. And today we're emphasizing more of a physical theme or a physical target, but still these deeper principles that I talk about all the time on my channel will apply. So finding a sense of awareness and connection with your experience. Really tuning in, noticing what you feel here, what's showing up for you. And relaxing into that experience, letting yourself really settle, letting yourself really land here. And let's do just that here for a few more breaths. Take a few more moments to arrive and relax, land here into your body, into this moment. From here, we'll take gentle inhale breath through our nose. And a gentle exhale breath out our mouth. And you can allow for your chin to drop down. From there, you'll slowly open your eyes. And from here, the first pose for our main sequence is going to be a wide-kneed version of a child's pose. So I'd like you to grab your blanket if you're using that, and you can open it up fairly wide here. Give yourself a padding and cushion. Fold it over a second time so you have, some support to work with. Like I always say when I teach this, you're also welcome to turn sideways on your mat, especially if your blanket might not work well for this setup. So take your knees wide enough here that you start to feel some release onto the inner line of your thighs, even onto the outer hips, the groin perhaps. Relax the chest generally forwards here. Relax the hips generally back. I do mention, because I wear a microphone on my chest here, that I won't be dropping all the way to the floor, so if you see me kind of propping myself up, that's why. For you guys at home, I recommend dropping as low as feels comfortable, as low as feels safe for your body. A note on that idea of safety here, just remembering as we work with these poses that we never want to take any chances that we might be harming the body. If you feel anything sharp or strong, anything that kind of stirs things up, you're going to want to really listen to that and back away if that's the case. That's going to be especially true as we get into our peak for today, which is going to be that saddle pose, that deep opening for the hip flexors. So take your time and work gradually, work patiently, and once again, just allow yourself to relax. Allow the body to really land and to settle into your pose. We're doing deep and subtle work here as we relax. We're opening up lines of tissue. We're allowing for a more easy flow of energy to circulate within the body. just gently breathing here, feel those pulses, feel those waves of energy as things do ebb and flow for you. And we'll sit with this here for a few more moments, a few more cycles of nice slow breath. From here, whenever you naturally find it, take one more complete breath just like this. And then very slowly, very gradually start to make your way forwards onto the belly. So you can extend the legs back and behind you. Feel free to leave this blanket here if you want cushion. I'm going to slide it out of the way for myself. I don't feel like I particularly need that. And just rest onto the floor. Give yourself a nice pause here. Feel that release in the hips. Feel that release in the legs in general. Take a few deep breaths. Give the body the time it needs to bounce back from the deeper work that we were just doing here. And in fact, let's reset our breath one more time. Take a nice deep inhale breath through the nose. And open up your mouth as you exhale to let that all out. Now from here on our belly, we're going to rise up onto the forearms. We're going to set ourselves up into a Sphinx shape. So the intention here is to create a mild compression in your lower back, a little bit of a spinal focus, a little bit of spinal sensation. Mild is the key word here, so you don't want to be like pinching or overly compressing. Depending on how your chest and shoulders feel, you might relax into it, or you might engage a little bit to kind of regulate things, but make sure you're not gripping. Make sure you're not straining. And again, as with every pose, if the sensation becomes too sharp, too strong, just back away from that edge. Otherwise, again, let yourself really connect here and experience this. Let yourself really be in this shape, in this moment. And just ask what you might be able to let go of. What you might be able to release here. Allowing the body to really settle, to really land into the shape, into this experience. So we can take a final complete breath like this. And slowly begin to release, sending the elbows out. You can rest on the forehead. You could also rest on your cheek, but feel that unraveling in your spine. Feel that release into the lower back and take a few breaths to channel some energy there, to really send it into where we were just targeting, into where we were just working. Just let it all release, let it all open up here for a few moments. And here you can take a nice deep inhale breath through your nose. Open up the mouth, exhale, and just let that out. From here, you'll use your hands and gently press the hips back towards the heels. Finding a child's pose, just rounding, releasing. From here, we're going to slowly start to sit ourselves up and set up for where we'll be going next. So for today, we're actually going to be doing 2 variations of dragon pose, which is our lunging pose. Normally, I usually don't do more than one. And so the reason for this is we really do want to prepare our hips and our lower body. The nice thing is they'll have a pretty different emphasis, and because I'm doing 2 of them, they're going to be shorter holds than I sometimes do. So you're going to want your blanket here to pad your knees. I'm going to recommend having your blocks here. For this first variation, have your blocks fairly tall. And let's step our left foot forward. So our dragon pose is, of course, a lunging shape. But the first variation we're going to do is what we call retreating dragon. So rather than leaning forwards, you're actually going to rock back so that you're resting onto that left heel, which is going to emphasize the back line of that leg quite a bit more here. Now, as we dial this up, being careful with your spine. We just came out of that back bend, but any amount you're going to fold, and the main target is going to become that back line of the left leg here. You're going to really be able to get into it. Use your blocks here to help give yourself a bit of lightness, a bit of control. Dragon poses are a little bit of an enigma within our Yin Yoga practice because they require a good amount of effort. There's no way we can completely relax here. Or if we did, we'd fall over anyway, right? So what we really want to do is relax where we are trying to target. And as I said, that should be mostly the back of that left leg. Let that left leg relax and engage selectively around that to support yourself, to give yourself some control and some stability here. And take some nice deep breaths here. Really encourage the energy to move and to circulate. And we're being generally passive here, but not completely. Inviting a little bit of energy in the background. Take your final complete breath like this. Slowly shift and come back forwards for a moment and carefully take your time. Release that left leg behind you. Start up as you would like. Just take just a short pause. You can sit back. I'm almost like leaning onto my block, so I'm not going to linger here too long, but give that left side a few moments to settle. Take a few slow breaths and just kind of feel how it bounces back. From here, let's set up the second side of this. So when you're ready for it, you can start to pick yourself up. And And this time, of course, we'll be stepping our right foot forwards. So finding that nice deep low lunge. From here, take a gentle inhale. And then as you exhale, you'll rock back with that right leg generally straight with the intention of really lengthening the back line of it. Obviously, just like first side, you're going to dial up some amount of fold in the torso here. Really respect how this feels on your spine. You can, fine-tune this and adapt it as much as is needed for your body. Can you find just the right amount of effort? Can you work just enough to control your edge, to stabilize, while still allowing for a strong sense of letting go? And of course, physically relaxing the tissues on the back of the right leg. That's the main target of where we're working here. And I will say that the poses we're doing today are some of the stronger ones in our Yin Yoga practice. So be, of course, especially cautious as you play your edge. Remember the importance of a nice deep breath. Remember the importance of letting go. You never want to hold on. Never want to grip. We want to feel that sense of ease, even when things do get a little bit more challenging. Let's take one more complete breath right here. Slowly shift and come forwards. Take a moment, release that right leg back, let it move. You can sway the hips, anything like that. And sit down, basically child's pose. Take like 30 seconds, maybe 5 breaths or so. And just give the body a moment here so it can reset. Feel that right side hip feel as everything balances out there. To clear the slate here, let's take a nice deep inhale through our nose. A nice long exhale out our mouth. Slowly start to press yourself up. So the next version is going to be a little more of our typical dragon, more of a low lunge type shape. I do recommend using blocks here if you have them. Step the left foot forwards and come into a nice long stride. Now, what I really intend for you to feel here is an obvious release on the front of your right leg. So you're going to want to shift your weight, make sure you're not compressing the kneecap. You may want to sway your hips, move in space, and depending on your body, you can stay with the arms straighter. You may find that you want to drop down low to the elbows, but again, try to adjust your weight so that most of what you're feeling is actually on the front line of your back leg. That's where we're going to want to have the release for where we're going to be ending up with things here. A lot of what I said in the first variation is true here. So yes, you're working a little bit to stabilize, but we're still very much encouraging a sense of release and letting go. These are going to be stronger poses for most of us, but they should never be painful. Should never feel like something that you can't work with. If things come past that line, just back out. Don't feel like you have to stay the entire time. As long as you're prepping that line of the body, that's really what we're after here. And we'll be in this shape for just a few more moments, just a few more slow breaths. Take your final complete breath right here. Slowly press up and out. And again, I invite you to move, to reset, to sway the hips, anything at all that feels good. And you can see the pattern here. We're going to take a short pause. We're going to take a few breaths. I'm definitely starting to get in there. So just kind of notice how the body's responding to this work. Notice all the various effects that you're likely having here. And let's start to set up the second side of things here. So when you're ready for it, we can start to pick up and move the blocks a little over to the left. And step the right foot now, somewhat outside here. Play with how your weight is resting and shifting. And again, the intention is to feel this on the front line of your left thigh is like the main emphasis. Of course, you'll feel other stuff too, but that's, the main target for what we're trying to do here. Consider staying up high like I am right now, or consider dropping down low. And just a practical detail, definitely make sure that you're not gripping through the chest and the shoulders if you are going that route. Again, being really intentional with the edge that you choose. Never pushing aggressively with the body at all. But playing at a bit of an edge. Maybe like 3 or 4 out of 10. Can you really work with that experience? Can you really relax and settle into it? How can we find a sense of calm even as we do this deeper physical work for today's practice? Let's take one more complete breath here. Slowly rise to make your way up. And again, just like reset the leg, shake it out, sway the hips, move things around a little bit. So since I did pull out my bolster, here's a place where those of you who have one can consider using one. A good alternative, if you don't have a bolster, you could roll up your blanket. You could even use like a cushion, like a pillow from your couch or something like this. But we're just going to make a cushion to support our hips. So you're going to take the bolster and put it right across the middle of your mat. And just release forwards. And my hope is this feels really nice. After those deep hip flexor releases, can be a nice decompression on the lower back. Like everything I offer here, if this doesn't feel good, just lay on your belly, you'll be fine. But one way or another here, just create that sense of release. Let's take a nice pause. We're kind of clearing the slate, because next pose will be that saddle pose, the peak pose that we're kind of emphasizing today. Once again, let's take a deep inhale breath through our nose. A long exhale breath out our mouth. We can slowly pick ourselves up here and remove your bolster, remove any props you had out from underneath you, and just take a short pause on your belly for a few seconds. Settle here for a few moments. From here, let's start to press ourselves up and start to get things going. Now, as we get things going, I just kind of want to make a point here that this is definitely a shape where we don't want to be too invested in what the pose looks like. We want to be much more interested in how it feels in the body. I'm going to give a big range of options. Hopefully everyone should be able to find one that makes sense for them along the way here. And of course, if you're finding this is not working, don't force yourself into it. Don't do too much for your body. That's like our #1 rule. So to follow along, I'm going to recommend having a blanket. So saddle pose starts in basically a kneeling position. So the first step is to get here. So for my body, I can sit like this with no discomfort, but I know many people may not be able to. So if you're having trouble sitting, you're going to want to prop yourself up. You may need a block. You might even need 2 blocks under the hips or some sort of cushion to make that possible. Another thing that often comes up is tension on the front of the ankles. If you're feeling a lot of that, you might need to roll your blanket up or slide something underneath there to give yourself some cushion. And another common thing is the position of the feet. So there's a subset of people, just because of the shape of their hips, you're going to want to have your toes turned out. For my body, it feels way better to turn them back. So I think you'll know which tent you're in just based on what you're feeling here. So first step is come into this kneeling position, and the knees can be wide or closed. You can really experiment with this. So if just being here is creating a very strong effect on the front of your thighs, this is going to be your pose. This is where you're going to stay. If you're feeling okay here and you want to go a little further with things, what we're going to do is we'll start to lean back. So you can consider grabbing your blocks. Maybe you're leaning with your arms very straight. Maybe it becomes possible to come down onto your elbows, something like this. You can have the chin tucked in, or you can drop the head back, but as you get further here, this is going to emphasize that front line of your thighs. You may also start to feel some sensation in your lower back or in your chest. Once you've gotten this far, this is where folks who have a bolster might appreciate sliding it behind them. So it can become kind of a place where you could relax, lean into this chest opener. And if you have the bolster, this can be a really nice place to go. Finally, some of us may be able to go without the bolster. Now, again, this is not a goal. There's no prize you get for going further. It's all a function of what feels right for your body. So maybe it makes sense to lie all the way back. So I could do this, and if I were practicing by myself, I might do this, but it's a little much. So I'm not going to stay here, especially while I'm talking to you guys. So I'm going to rise up, and my pose is going to look like this. I've already started my timer, so hopefully you found a version that's working well for you. Take your time, and let's really start to settle into this. You may be using a little bit of effort to support yourself, and that's fine, but we're still generally intending to relax. This is definitely a stronger pose. It's part of the reason why I haven't taught it yet on my channel. But if we work with it carefully, it's a very beneficial pose for the body. How could you meet this experience with a greater sense of calm, with a greater sense of ease? Can you really relax and just allow the pose to do its natural work? Allow the body to just gradually respond to it over time. Now, we want to take just as much care on the way out as we took on the way in. So especially those of you who made it fairly far back, really take your time. Just press into the floor, start to rise up. Once we're up here, we may need to get props out of the way, of course, but whatever way makes sense for you. Start to take the legs forwards, extend. We can clear out any other props that might be in our way. And just kind of shake the legs in place here, release through the hips. And now from here, we're going to shift and we're going to find our way all the way onto our back. So just clear everything out here. Come all the way back into a reclined position. Take a nice pause here for a little while. So again, just appreciate that this was a fairly substantial sequence. We were really getting deep into the hips, the lower body. You're now on your back. Feel this nice neutral quality and really give the whole system some time to bounce back, some time to respond. And just take some nice deep breaths. Really invite the energy to move, invite the energy to circulate here beneath the surface. From here, we're going to do a few postures on our back to round this all out. So let's start by drawing the feet in or walking the feet in. Have your knees bent. You can take a little sway just to kind of loosen things there. We're going to start with a figure four shape to release the outer hip a bit. So you'll cross your left ankle over the right knee, make that figure four shape. You may find that for your body this is reasonable, in which case you would just want to stay here. Or you can consider drawing that right thigh in towards the chest. Giving a bit of a squeeze, softening the shoulders, softening the belly, and again, just feel that nice release, especially on the outside edge of the left hip. While you hold here, some nice slow breaths, nice easy rhythm moving in the background. Let yourself soften, let yourself really settle into the shape. Final moment here, you'll take a gentle inhale. Slow exhale, lower the right leg down. Now from here, we're going to set up for a twist. So you could either keep your legs crossed as they are. You could also cross the left leg a little further on the top if you want. So from here, you're going to take a gentle inhale and slowly exhale to roll the legs across the body towards the right into your twist. Relax the left shoulder anywhere beside you. Remember, when we do these final twists, it should always feel nice. So feel free to micro adjust, feel free to fine tune as you need to. But just really deeply settle, really deeply unwind here. Still letting go, still really releasing here through each moment. And take one more breath right here. And gradually wind into the middle and release. Just shift, move a little side to side for a few seconds here. And let's set up for second half of that. So you'll now be crossing your right ankle on top here, making that figure 4. You could stay like this, of course, or dial it up a bit, drawing the right thigh into the chest. Sorry, that's your left thigh, I guess. So you feel the release, though, on the outer right hip. And shoulders are soft. We're not really pulling or anything. Just let the arms relax and let that natural pull of gravity draw you into your shape. And while you hold that here, just nice, slow, natural breath. Feeling this mellow wind down at the end of what was a fairly deep class. Lots of strong work we did today. Let's take one more breath right here. Slowly release that left foot down. And as we set up for our twist, again, you can keep the legs crossed in figure 4, or you could go a little deeper here and cross your right leg completely on top. From here, you'll gradually release the legs across the body, finding that deeper twist. Placing the right arm, right shoulder, anywhere comfortable beside you. Relax the legs and the belly. Let everything release. Let everything really ring out here. And just be. Just let the body gradually unravel over these next couple of minutes here. Take a final complete breath like you are here. And slowly start to draw the legs back into the middle and take a moment to release. Take a moment to shift and just kind of balance all of that out. And then take your time from here to gradually extend the legs out onto the floor, setting yourself up for your final rest, final Shavasana pose. And if you did have like your yoga bolster with you, you could slide that under the knees. You could use your blanket or your blocks for that too if you want, or just keep it simple and lie down flat on your back like I am right now. Either way, with the setup here, with your eyes closed, just scan the body one last time and really make sure that you're no longer controlling anything. No longer really manipulating the experience in any way. You're just being here. You're just lying here as you are. And to help make that shift permanent, or final rather, let's take one last inhale through our nose. Open up your mouth to exhale and let absolutely everything go here for these final few minutes. So take just a final few moments on your back as you are and bring some awareness back to the breath, back to the body, and just really feel everything that's settled over those last few minutes. And from here we can start to feel as the breath deepens again, start to feel as the energy starts flowing again. From there, when you're ready, you can draw the knees in and roll your way onto your side. And from there, gently press your way back up into a comfortable seat with your eyes closed. And in this final seat, just final opportunity to really tune in and notice all the changes practice has created for you. Really feel the full effects of the work you did today. And join your hands in front of the heart. So like always, my thanks to each of you for sharing your practice. It's truly an honor to teach. And as we say, the light within me salutes the light within you. Namaste. So once again, thank you so very much for joining. And of course, if you have any thoughts or questions, you can let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't yet, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel so you can see more practices like this each week. And finally, if you want to go even deeper in your work with me, follow the link below to subscribe to my newsletter because I offer deeper reflections than what I can often offer on this channel. Otherwise, thank you so much, and I hope to see you again on the mat soon.